What if getting rich had less to do with math and more to do with psychology? Picture two coworkers earning the same income. One quietly builds wealth and barely checks the market. The other chases hot tips, feels anxious every night, and wonders why nothing sticks. Same paycheck, same market, totally different outcomes. Here's the twist most people miss. The biggest driver isn't your IQ or the perfect spreadsheet. It's how you behave when money touches your emotions. If you've ever sold too early, bought too late, or compared your life to someone else's highlight reel, this is for you. Stay with me because in the next few minutes, you'll learn a simple, human way to make money decisions that actually work in real life. The Psychology of Money is written by Morgan Housel, a former columnist at The Motley Fool and The Wall Street Journal. He doesn't teach tricks or secret formulas. He tells stories that reveal how luck, risk, patience, and behavior shape financial results. The book took off because it explains why smart people often make costly mistakes and why ordinary people with steady habits can win. It matters right now because markets are noisy, social media pushes comparison, and most of us are juggling goals, fears, and impulses. This book gives you a calmer lens and a practical toolkit for decisions you can live with for decades. The core idea is simple. Financial success is not about what you know, it's about how you behave. Master your habits and emotions around saving, spending, and risk, and you give compounding the time it needs to make you look smart. Let's dive into the main lessons and keep this practical with stories and one small action you can use today. We'll move from mindset to mechanics to resilience, so each idea builds on the last. First, luck and risk are bigger than we think, and tail events drive most outcomes. We love tidy stories. We want to believe success is a straight line from talent to result. Reality is messier. A tiny number of moments, decisions, or breaks can account for a huge share of results. Think about long careers, big market runs, once-in-a-decade crashes, or being in the right place at the right time. That's the tail effect. A janitor named Ronald Red lived modestly, saved consistently, invested in familiar companies, and died a multi-millionaire. His outcome wasn't flashy, but a few long bull markets and decades of discipline did the heavy lifting. On the other hand, highly paid professionals have blown up fortunes with one bad bet, one layer of extra leverage, or one refusal to quit. Same world, different exposure to risk. The lesson is humility. You don't control the dice, but you control how long you stay in the game and how exposed you are to disaster. Your move today is simple. Identify one catastrophic risk in your finances and reduce it. That might be paying down high-interest debt, adding a small cash buffer, or fixing insurance gaps. Respect the tails and build your life so good luck can compound and bad luck doesn't end your story. Second, compounding is the closest thing to financial magic, and time matters more than brilliance. Everyone knows compound interest, but most people don't feel it. That's because compounding starts slow and then accelerates. It rewards consistency, not constant optimization. Picture two investors. One gets slightly higher returns but jumps in and out when headlines get scary. The other earns average returns but stays invested and adds a bit each month. Over 20 or 30 years, the steady investor usually wins because they never interrupt the compounding engine. Warren Buffett's fortune illustrates this too. He started young and kept going for an unusually long time, letting compounding do what compounding does. Your action here is to make time your ally. Automate a monthly investment you can sustain without stress, even if it's small. The point is not the perfect fund, but the unbroken streak. Promise yourself you won't pull the plug during a storm. Your future self will thank you for protecting the engine. Third, your savings rate is more important than your investment picks. This is one of the most liberating ideas in the book. You don't need to beat the market to build wealth. You need a gap between what you earn and what you spend, because that gap is the raw material for everything else. If you save little, you're forced to chase high returns to make up the difference. That leads to gambling and stress. If you save more, you can earn plain vanilla returns and still reach your goals. Saving is not about deprivation. It's about independence and options. Imagine two friends. One upgrades their lifestyle with every raise. New car, bigger apartment, nicer everything. Their fixed costs swell and they feel trapped. The other raises their savings rate with each raise. They still enjoy life, but they keep expenses lagging behind income. Over time, that second friend can take opportunities, handle a job change, or invest when markets are down. Your action is straightforward. The next time your income increases, automatically redirect a slice to savings or investments before you feel richer. If you never see it, you won't miss it. That simple move compounds your freedom. Fourth, know what is enough. Humans adapt fast. Yesterday's luxury is today's baseline, and today's baseline becomes tomorrow's not quite enough. If you never defined enough, you are always one step away from contentment. That's dangerous because it tempts you to take risks that threaten everything you already built. Many financial disasters share a pattern. People who already had a lot pushed just a bit further for more, often with leverage or concentrated bets, and got caught when the music stopped. Enough is not about settling. It's about drawing a line that protects your sleep, your relationships, and your long game. Here's a simple exercise. Write down what enough means for you. It can be a mix of numbers and feelings. Maybe it's a level of savings that covers a year of expenses, the ability to take a month off, or enough passive income to choose your projects. Revisit that definition once a year. When a tempting opportunity appears, test it against your definition. If it risks your enough for a little more, it's often not worth it. Fifth, build a margin of safety because surprises are inevitable. Markets fall, jobs change, health issues appear, plans drift. A margin of safety is the buffer between what you hope will happen and what you can handle. In money terms, that looks like an emergency fund, modest debt, diversified investments, and goals that assume you won't nail every forecast. Consider two households in a downturn. One has 6 months of expenses in cash and keeps fixed costs reasonable. They don't enjoy the storm, but they can wait it out. The other is stretched, with high payments and no cushion. The same storm becomes a crisis. They're forced to sell investments at the worst time, turning a temporary dip into a permanent loss. Your action here is to set a minimum cash buffer and treat it as sacred. 3 to 6 months of expenses is a common range. Adjust for your job stability, family needs, and risk tolerance. The exact number matters less than the rule. The buffer buys you time, and time is the oxygen for good decisions. Sixth, control your behavior by controlling your environment. We all think we'll be rational when markets swing, but fear and greed are louder in real time. The trick is not to rely on willpower. It's to design your defaults. If your phone pings every headline, you'll react. If your investments are easy to trade, you'll twitch. Small frictions can save you from yourself. One investor moves long-term money to an account they rarely log into and hides market apps from their home screen. Another writes a one-page investment policy that spells out what they own, why they own it, when they'll sell, and what they'll do in a crash. When panic hits, they read the page instead of the news. Your move is to add one protective friction. Turn off push alerts for market news, remove the trading app from your home screen, write your rules before you need them. Calmer behavior follows naturally. Seventh, define your game and play it. People have different timelines, goals, and risk appetites. A day trader chasing momentum, a retiree seeking income, and a young family saving for a home are playing different games on the same field. Copying tactics from someone playing a different game leads to pain. The book urges you to decide your game first. Are you aiming for financial independence by a certain age? Are you optimizing for peace of mind, legacy, or adventure? Once the goal is clear, it filters the noise. You stop caring about performative wins that don't move your needle. Your action is clarity. Write down your primary goal and timeline. Then choose strategies that serve that goal and ignore the ones that don't. It's easier to stay the course when the course is your own. Let's knit these ideas together with a simple, real-world scenario. Imagine the market drops sharply. Headlines scream. Podcasts predict doom. Your stomach tightens. If you've respected luck and risk, you didn't load up on leverage at the top. If you've protected compounding, you keep contributing automatically even as prices fall. If you focused on savings, you have dry powder and don't need to sell at a loss. If you've defined enough, you aren't tempted to gamble to recover faster. If you've kept a margin of safety, the emergency fund covers life's bills while the market heals. If you've designed your environment, the lack of constant alerts gives you space to think. And because you know your game, you see the drop as part of your long plan, not a verdict on your identity. The same event that panics one person becomes an opportunity or a non-event for another. That's psychology working for you instead of against you. There are a few bonus insights worth carrying with you. First, money's highest dividend is control over your time. Freedom to choose how you spend your days is worth more than squeezing out a slightly higher return that costs you peace. Second, pessimism sounds smart because it feels like protection. But long-term progress is the historical norm across markets and technology. Optimism with a safety margin is a powerful stance. Third, patience is not passive. It's a decision to let good choices play out over years. Doing nothing is often the hardest, smartest move in investing. Now, a quick summary and the key takeaways you can hold on to after this ends. Financial success is less about knowledge and more about behavior. Respect the roles of luck and risk because a few big events drive most outcomes, and humility keeps you safe. Let compounding work by staying invested and giving it time. Focus on your savings rate so you control your destiny instead of chasing returns. Define what is enough so you don't risk what you have for what you don't need. Build a margin of safety because surprises will show up. Shape your environment so your behavior naturally lines up with your goals. And play your own game so you can ignore noise that isn't meant for you. Do these consistently and you'll look wise not because you predicted the future, but because you built a system that survives it. If this clicked for you, read the full book, The Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel. His stories make these ideas stick and will change how you notice money patterns in your life. If you want to go deeper, explore topics like financial independence, index investing, and decision-making under uncertainty. Before you go, take a moment to define your enough, choose one friction to control your behavior, and set one automatic step toward your goals. Share what you pick in the comments, ask a question, or tell a story about a money decision you learned from. If this helped, consider subscribing and sending this to someone who could use a calmer, smarter approach to money. Your next small step might be the one that compounds for decades.